reality shows. I know this is supposed to be manufactured bullshit, but it's also supposed to seem genuine to the public, right? So which chuckle thought the best way to represent Translucent as a man of the people was by showing him on a swing? Yes, it's a hilarious visual for us, but it's fucking ridiculous as part of this propaganda.
I was trying to go for something a bit more personable and down to earth.
Not this down to earth.
Why is Courtney having a pop at this editor as if the creative direction was all his fault? Look, editors can perform feats of magic, but surely he didn't choose the content. I refuse to believe that he is the creative director and editor in a company that has a Marvel-esque cinematic universe. If your brief wasn't clear enough, that's on you, Courtney.
We here are not f***ing Heidi and Spencer.
Even in 2019, Heidi and Spencer references were dated enough to earn you a sin. And having to hear the reference in 2023 means you're getting 5.
As a heavenly body lost her luster.
I suppose a few seconds of news position is better than 2 minutes of previously ons, but this is still we saw literally at the end of the last episode. Stop acting like we aren't binging this entire show in one afternoon.
After Starlight's shocking appearance at the Believe Expo,
social media is still buzzing.
Gotta love/sin news stations that are perfectly synchronized to continue each other's sentences for the convenience of expositional channel hopping.
Who's that dude that stuck his in her face? She should that in the asshole.
Okay, those weren't our bleeps, those were the news station's bleeps, which means one of two things is happening here. This is either a live interview where someone's predictively bleeping the swears and blurring her lips, or this is a recorded interview which the anchor should not be shocked by. Drinking beer by the pitcher. Yes, I know it happens, but we really need to stop supporting the idea that this is a good way to consume your carbonated yeast. I mean, how lazy do you have to be to prefer room temperature flat beer instead of making the short walk to the bar between pints?
5 blocks down into a pet store where he hides behind his jumbo bag of kibbles and bits for 4 hours.
The scariest part of this story is that there's a pet store that just let a kid hide behind a bag of dog food for 4 hours and doesn't check on him to see if he needs any help.
I've been worried, asshole.
Backhanded sentiments.
Live your life. That's what Robin will want.
No, I think what Robin would want is to not have been jelloed at high speed for no good reason. Can we stop speaking for the dead as if this is supposed to make grieving people feel better?
My grandfather built this place with his bare hands. That's me in the middle.
Homelander's homestead is all set up to look like he had a typical American childhood. But isn't this all easily disprovable? These weren't really his parents, and I bet his grandfather had nothing to do with building this house, so isn't putting this picture and fairy tale out there risky? I mean, Butcher and Friends managed to uncover a lot more with far less. Cubs fans.
Welcome to my bedroom. Hasn't changed a bit.
Great observation. Why hasn't it changed at all? Homelander implies that his parents died when he was pretty young, so why has this house been kept as if it were some sort of shrine to his childhood?
So no hero was born. None of them. They're all just kids dosed with the blue shit.
I can't even begin to describe what it would take to support a conspiracy of this size. Putting aside the people involved in the secret creation and distribution of Compound V, we'll find out that some parents even volunteered their children to be injected. And after nearly 50 years, no one has come forward or leaked any of this to the press. Sure, it's not impossible, but if Butcher and this lot have managed to uncover the whole damn thing in a matter of months, I'd imagine someone else would have managed to all the presidents mend themselves to the truth as well. The whole corridor can hear this? Stillwell's office should be the most soundproof room in the whole fucking building considering what goes on in there.
Then I think we may need to reconsider your position in the 7.
And I think that firing an employee after she reported sexual assault on live TV might tank your stock price.
I love Annie claiming her power in this scene. I just wish it didn't come at the expense of making Stillwell look naive. Sure, she might see Annie as new and malleable at this point, but she must see how firing her would look pretty hideous whichever way they choose to dress it up. And why bother? To save the Deep? Why is her preference to get Annie off the books instead of dealing with the persistent boner burden that is the Deep?
You really stood for something. Pretty sure that was just written by the marketing guys.
Elevators that know exactly when to arrive to give maximum impact to your big zinger. This would have been really awkward if they had another 10 floors to go.
Listen, I got one word for you. It's a surefire way to solve this puzzle.
Is it going to be a soup that just so happens to have a power that would be extremely helpful in this situation and is also vulnerable enough to be taken advantage of by a bunch of non-soups, but for some reason hasn't been mentioned until now?
Mesmer.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I've seen you eat ice cream.
Oh my God.
Chunky monkey, I believe.
Where's this going?
Well, Frenchie will create a terrible and not very convincing chunky monkey metaphor to get Mother's milk to go along with his terrible plan of involving another soup. So in other words, this works. Also, no one actually eats Chunky Monkey. It's just a catchy name that's fun to say. We need to expose the myth, people. Hashtag Chunky Monkey is a lie.
No one wants to f the writer.
Hey, wait, hold up. I mean, that's not true. No, that's fair.
She climaxed and accidentally turned into ice. As you can imagine, it snapped off.
Which makes Seth insanely lucky that he only lost his dick. If he was that close to Ice Princess when she became negative 346 degrees, the entire outside of his body should have been affected too. Or at the very least, he should have had a pair of frozen Seth-sticles.
Please do continue the escapades.
We don't make jokes or judgments here.
Well said. I mean, how else can you expect poor Seth to let it go, let it go? We don't get a good look at it, but I think it's hilarious that Translucent has a bust that is likely, well, just the stand.
I'm gonna need you to make a public apology. And you're going to be taking a sabbatical from the 7.
She's doing this f***ing now in the corridor. Stillwell strikes me as the type of person who likes to control things, so I'd expect this to happen in her office. And likely with Homelander present, just in case an emergency deep frying is required.
It's only a matter of time before she, or let's be honest, some of the other women speak up.
Again, very damaging conversations are being had in the middle of the f***ing corridor. Now, for the record, f*** the Deep and everything he is, but I'm just stunned that it isn't in Stillwell's best interest to be choreographing this in private.
Our new movie, Insurrection. It's really exciting.
A superhero movie with Seth Rogen in it. Imagine someone thinking that was a good idea. Glad that's never happened. That was weird. Also, thinking that using the subtitle Insurrection for your movie is ever a good idea.
But there's only one person who can see inside their hearts and read their minds.
So Mesmer is apparently a child star that's been neglected and tossed aside by Vought, but why? We'll get told it happened after some insider trading, but his power is insane. The ability to read people's minds should make him one of the most in-demand soups on the planet, and he's out here doing the convention circuit? Who chooses the Deep over Mesmer? Scene does not contain a The Crow Wicked Prayer poster. Scene also never confirms that Billy Zane is reprising his role as the Phantom in the Boysiverse. Do it, you cowards. Do it.
What number am I thinking of?
867?
It's like Mesmer has a sixth sense or something. I guess it could also be an artificial intelligence. And it's really not fair to keep a power like that to yourself. You really should pay it forward. Secondhand lines.
Don't you want teenage kicks with A-Train?
Considering Mesmer hates Vought and Soups, I don't know why he'd be wearing this other than to advertise to us that he has a link to A-Train.
Who the f*** are you? Why don't you take a peep and see?
It's really odd seeing the kid from Sixth Sense playing a character that has superpowers very similar to Bruce Willis's character in Unbreakable. Or a few rapidly aging beach bums, a sundowning elderly woman, and an alien-killing glass of water from The Boys being part of the Shyamalaniverse. Am I sinning this show for not becoming part of the Shyamalaniverse? Yes. Yes, I am. Do the writers think it's funny to make me say Shyamalaniverse? Yes. Yes, they do.
How do you know about Cleo?
Well, I work for Child Services.
I love transitions like this. Have they just been walking in silence all this time? This cut makes it seem like they left the convention, walked across this field, and are only now picking up this conversation again.
I don't have a DVD player.
Being reminded how much owning physical media is becoming a thing of the past.
My wife, Becca, used to hum the Spice Girls.
I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. I really, really, really want a Zigga Skip.
Just remember, they're your friends.
Using the we're your real friends tactic to get a person who is, at best, a co-worker on your side. Might as well go ahead and talk about how everyone in the office is just one big happy family. Off.
That is gonna kill somebody when it lands in Boston.
Breaking the ice by referencing a future manslaughter.
So what if I took you to a house you'd never seen before, full of photos of parents you never met, toys you never played with, Hardy Boy books that you never read?
Acting like if there are Hardy Boys books in front of you, you're not just going to quit what you're doing and read all of them ASAP. Frank and Joe deserve better, Homelander. Also, my goodness, is there anything other than emotions left in this episode? I said skip!
I'm really sorry about the blanket. It never should have been there, and Randy Setdeck has already been terminated.
Cool, but how did Randy Setdeck ever get a hold of Homelander's actual childhood blanket? Why would that even be a thing that still exists at Vought? They're hardly the sentimental type, so wouldn't it have either been discarded and never seen again, or locked away so securely that random Randy Setdeck would never have accidentally been able to get a hold of it?
Just go walk it off.
Walk it off! She broke my f***ing wrist!
Mesmer would be mesmerizing at TVSins.
I got your phone linked to my Find Your Shithead Friends app.
Okay, this explains why Butcher's able to pop in at extremely convenient times, but those apps require the other person's phone permission too. And as resourceful as Butcher is, can you imagine any of these guys being dumb enough to leave their phones unattended and unlocked near him? I mean, other than Huey, of course.
Well, now we gotta kill him.
Saying you've got to kill someone loud enough for the person you're talking about killing to hear.
Frenchie? You're dating a terrorist.
Is this true?
Frenchie expects to get an answer to this question from a woman who's been almost 100% silent since he met her and has shown no indication that she speaks or understands English. Also, Frenchie will be deeply hurt by this revelation, but I'm shocked by his lack of perspective. By many definitions, he and the rest of the boys are the terrorists in this situation. Vought is the accepted power, and they're working against them in a pretty illegal fashion. Get off your high horse, Frenchie, and wait for some context. The scene with baby Homelander that this blanket leads to is one of the best parts of the episode, but if you think I'm not sinning the conveniently placed baby blanket being on top of this pile, then welcome to the channel. You must be new here. Don't forget Thursday we have a mime coming in to reenact the entirety of Schindler's List. It's gonna be special.
Never got the point of these. To me, they always look like Granddad's bollocks flopping in the wind.
You would think that how many testicles does Butcher's granddad have, and why did Butcher ever have occasion to see them, would at least crack the top 10 weirdest questions the show has made me ask, but you would be wrong.
I can give you everything you want on this list.
Except
Homelander.
Then what's the f***ing point of the investigation? If the FBI are terrified of Homelander, why are they even bothering to go after Vought? Homelander is Vought. So what makes her think that going after them is any less dangerous?
Because if you watch that episode of Downton Abbey, then I'm going to be one behind and we're not going to be able to binge watch together.
Using a Downton Abbey reference to show the masculine man has a heart cliche. Also, making your better half wait till it's convenient for you to watch the next episode of Downton Abbey. Carson and Bates are going to get in a fight and strongly harumph at each other this week. What kind of monster are you, Mother's Milk? Also, binge watching.
Tina, it's Mesmer.
Why is he using his soup name to the CPS lady? He has an actual name for official right?
There's this beach in the Bahamas. Let's just go.
Are we talking about this?
I understand the confusion, Huey, because there is zero about the interactions you've had with Starlight over the past 5 episodes and change that has led me to believe she would not only be willing to move to a tropical island with you, but would also be the one to suggest it.
I'm gonna go get us a pitcher. Billy, you like, let me guess, Guinness?
Who drinks Guinness from a pitcher? Waiting 57 minutes and 54 seconds to finally Billy Joel us.
Rubbish, we don't want to be happy, we want to be famous.
Yeah, that's me, all right. And the guy standing next to me is President Gerald Ford.
Sorry, I don't...
You don't get it, do you? I don't want to be your stupid quarterback. I quit!
I would like you to take this in the constructive spirit that it is intended.
I'm gonna rip the eyes out of your head and piss in your dead skull!
Okay.
Are my teeth not white enough? Or like the Great Falls is the bedrock of my life, eroding beneath me.
Nope, you're off, bro. Go again.
You gotta be f***ing kidding.
Do you have something you'd like to share?
The Iceman cometh.
Don't call me stupid.
Oh, right! To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people!
You play ball like a girl!